This video is sponsored by Rocket Money. More on them later. What we have here is the Razer Kishi Ultra. It turns your phone into a big ergonomic gaming handheld. Honestly, it's a lot like turning your phone into a PlayStation Portal. And that's what everybody wants, right? It's really just the latest controller that turns your phone into a gaming handheld. And it got me thinking. Whenever I post a video about a gaming handheld, I inevitably get comments that are telling me, just use a controller on your phone. We all know that's not the same thing, right? Although your phone is quickly becoming a powerful tool to add to your gaming arsenal. Developers keep releasing mobile versions of beloved games, and Apple is opening up the doors for developers to do some pretty wild stuff. The only thing that sucks about playing on your phone are those damn touch controls. God, are they awful. It's just not always convenient to have a whole gaming handheld with you, especially when you already have a phone in your pocket, which does gaming good enough. But by the same token, it's not always convenient to carry a whole controller with you for mobile gaming. But maybe it's not a convenience thing for you. Maybe you're thinking, I already have this super powerful device and nothing else. I can just add a controller to it and make it a super powerful gaming handheld. Or maybe there's a very specific game that you want to play only on your phone, and you want to make that a little easier for yourself by using a controller. Phones can be incredibly versatile. Bluetooth lets you use pretty much whatever you want. PlayStation controller, Xbox controller, hell, Apple even opened the door for Joy-Con to work via Bluetooth. With the newest iPhone going USB-C, there are now even more options. I actually do really like the previous Razer Kishis. They're known for their clickiness, but really, it's just the easiest way to turn your phone into a handheld. This is the latest, probably most ridiculous version, the Razer Kishi Ultra. And this was originally going to be just a review of this one controller, but there's so much more to say about mobile gaming in general, where we're at now with that, and all of the other devices you can use instead of this thing. Don't get me wrong, this does solve some problems. One of the major flaws of the original Razer Kishi is that it didn't support large devices. This is Ultra, so it does. It supports all the way up to an iPad mini, which I don't have. These controllers are a bit weird because you can only use specific devices with it. You can finagle a lot of devices to work with this thing. But you're pretty much only going to be using things horizontally in this thing because the USB-C is right here. And the biggest change here to this version of the Kishi are the ergonomics, the big, massive grips. This makes it extremely comfortable, especially if you're holding a big device. It also makes it way less portable. It's also a lot of money. $150 for just a controller, and that's a bit insane. It's got some features that they'll use to justify that hefty price tag, but there's a lot of other stuff people are making that solves this problem a little bit better, at least in theory. There is a market right now for this sort of thing, and solutions exist. Right now, they're just kind of all over the place. This video is sponsored by Rocket Money. Oh, this mortgage is killing me. I had no idea how much money we were spending until I got Rocket Money. $6 for cereal? What's wrong with Cinnamon Toast Squish? It's the one in the bag. The box costs a lot of money to make the box. She keeps shopping at the nice supermarket. $25? That's the big pot pie. Look at this one. $10 on footlong sandwiches? Who's the other one for? Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. Rocket Money safely and securely identifies recurring charges and cancels unwanted subscriptions for you. You can even cancel from within the app with just a couple of taps. No need to worry about customer service calls. Who spends money on oil changes? Just put canola oil in there like the rest of us, you turkey. 2-ply toilet paper? Actually, that's fine. A little extravagance is fine. Cold medicine? What's wrong with hot medicine? We like to have fun here. That one was a little goof, but for real, stop spending my money, boo-boo bear. And after linking Rocket Money to all of my accounts, they let me know that they could save me over $100 on my home internet bill. And then I just tapped a couple of things, and then they did it. $100, that's like, what? It's like 17 Kooky Loops. That's another one of those bagged cereals. Follow your toes! They had to save money on the tagline too. Get the financial freedom that you deserve by going to rockamoney.com/wolfden, spelled just like that, and you can try it for yourself today. And that is exactly why episode 3 is the best one of the trilogy, even though they all weren't really that good by comparison. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. You especially. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Revalidate talking. There are plenty of reasons to want a controller for your phone. I think the most likely reason is that you already have a pretty decent gaming setup on your phone. Like maybe you have Delta and you have all of your ROMs and you just want to expand that a little bit and make it a little more comfortable, a little more easier for you to play those games. The easiest way for you to do this is to just use a controller you probably already have. There exists clips for basically every controller. They're like $20. You can get one for, say, an Xbox controller. This is probably the easiest way to go about it. This 8BitDo clip is $20, although I don't think they sell it anymore. Still, there are a litany of similar ones on Amazon. Lately, people have been sending me this video from Reddit. It's a guy who made a little MagSafe Joy-Con adapter for his phone, and it works vertically. It also has NFC, so tapping the grip to the phone will automatically boot up Delta. This is such a sick idea. I've been working on something similar myself, and even though I've made 3D printed MagSafe attachments in the past, it never occurred to me to just make this MagSafe. I like this idea because with MagSafe, it means that it could connect to your phone while you have a case still on it, as long as that case is MagSafe. This guy is not currently selling these, it's just a proof of concept. Although, I guess you could just glue a MagSafe adapter to a Joy-Con grip. What's stopping you from doing that? Actually, I remember I took one of those clips for a phone and I screwed it into a Joy-Con grip. You just do that.
This right here is a little 3D printed vertical Joy-Con attachment that somebody made and I remixed. I'll link all of it below. I modified it to work with an iPhone 15 and the case that I have currently. And the Joy-Cons slide right in and everything plays pretty good on it. It's not exactly MagSafe, but it doesn't really need to be. Of course, you can't currently purchase this, but the files are free. There's services that you could just upload the design and they'll print the 3D printed files for you.
What I don't like about some of these solutions is that they kind of ruin the whole convenience of just having your phone with you, because you gotta carry a whole other controller, a whole additional peripheral. And when I'm gaming on my phone, it's usually because I don't want to bring anything else. One thing that I think solves this a little bit is something that I saw a while ago. It's a 3D printed slide out controller idea that uses an 8BitDo light. You take the 8BitDo light apart and you jam it into this 3D printed shell. That makes the footprint way smaller and it attaches to your case so you can just take it with you. This concept was expanded upon recently by YouTuber Eternal Progression. He used a different controller, but it's a very similar concept. I like this one a bit more because it uses MagSafe once again, meaning you can use it with or without a case. The reason this is so appealing to so many people is because it's a super convenient way to always have your controller on you, because it's just attached to your phone case right here. It is way thicker than just having your phone in a case, but it is still way more convenient than carrying an entire controller with you, or a controller and a controller clip or something. It's not the most ergonomic thing, but it's a lot more about convenience. That's why we play handhelds anyway. Ergonomics are just a plus. If you do want ergonomics, there are just so many options out there. These grip-like controllers, Jesus Christ. Basically, they turn your phone into a horizontal handheld. I hope that still works. I really love the Razer Jungle Cat just because of how much it makes your device look like a gaming handheld. But it doesn't work with everything because it requires you to have a case with some proprietary rails built into it. I do have some 3D printed files that you can probably adapt to whatever phone you want. This one is for the Boox Palma, of all things. For convenience sake, I use the PlayStation Edition Backbone 1 controller. It's an all-around great controller. It feels good and works great with pretty much any device. But the reason I've been suggesting it over other devices is that it works natively with the official PlayStation Remote Play app. No setup required. That's an added functionality you just don't get with anything else. You could use a third-party remote play app like PS Play, but those require 1 or 2 extra steps. This is just way easier. And if you don't care at all about PlayStation Remote Play, then good. You don't have to get this controller. The Kishi has been my favorite because of the clickiness that it has. The original is cool because it's convenient. It folds up into this little disc shape, but it's extremely ugly. It wraps around phones in a bulky, weird way.
The original Kishi, not as clicky as the version 2.
The second Razer Kishi is a lot sexier. It's not as compact when it's off of the phone, but it's still fairly compact. It's a solid upgrade and a solid choice if you're looking to turn your phone into a horizontal handheld.
The 2 does not work with my iPhone, only the Android phone. There's no update or anything. I don't understand.
This new one, the Ultra, is massive. This is if you're really serious about using your phone as one of your main gaming devices. It's so big because it could support some pretty large devices. It could support a whole iPad mini. I don't have an iPad mini, so I can't test that. I don't know who would buy this thing specifically for the iPad mini, who wants to use that as a gaming handheld. I kind of get it for a phone. A lot of people love the idea of the ergonomics of the PlayStation Portal. Those people would probably love using something like this. I am not one of those people. I'll also remind you that this is $150 and you still need a phone, and the PlayStation Portal is $200. Can't believe I'm siding with the PlayStation Portal on this one. But the Razer Kishi Ultra plus a phone would be capable of doing a lot more stuff than just a PlayStation Portal would, and that's probably why people would opt to get the Kishi Ultra in the first place. It's a solid controller overall. Thumbsticks feel really good. The stick gates have those smooth rings that just glide. Everything, and I mean everything, is insanely clicky. Even the D-pad. The bumpers have different types of micro switches in them. They're still clicky, just a different type of clicky. And the triggers are analog Hall effect triggers. The thumbsticks are not Hall effect. I don't know why you'd make the triggers Hall effect and not the thumbsticks, but I guess it's not a deal breaker. Hall effect is like a buzzword companies use, like AI or organic. I've seen some great Hall effect sticks and some absolutely horrible ones. So just because it's Hall effect doesn't automatically mean good. It's got headphone pass-through and USB-C pass-through for charging. It does have RGB that I set to just one static color. Sometimes devices like this have power drain issues. When your device is asleep, it could still draw a small amount of power from the device, silently killing the battery a lot quicker than if the controller was disconnected. The RGB does turn off after a few seconds of the device being asleep, but it does turn back on when you press a button. So definitely disconnect it from your device if you're throwing it in your bag. Using a controller like this does give you a more console-like experience on the phone. You don't need all of this for something like retro emulated games. This closer emulates the feeling of a modern controller. So maybe you're experimenting with some of the new AAA games that developers have been porting over to the iPhone. This might fill a need for you there. You know, I played around with the Resident Evil games when they dropped on the iPhone 15, and they ran really good when I was messing around with them. But I jumped back into it recently to test this thing, and they ran pretty bad. Granted, I am on the iOS 18 beta right now, but the beta has game mode, which should run better? I'm getting more frame drops than I remember. I'll have to try this again when iOS 18 does finally release.
I think Assassin's Creed is running worse than Resident Evil 8 was. Again, I'm on the beta of iOS 18, so that might have something to do with it. But I would say this is like not playable. It's freezing a lot. The load times are in weird spots. There's some weird glitches that are going on. It feels like the game just freezes sometimes, but it's actually just loading. This is just really choppy. The AI kind of just stands around until the game finally decides to load, and then they do the action they're supposed to. It's really bizarre. Come on. Come on.
That merchant has left his purse on the table. An easy one to begin with.
that took so long.
Another thing that had me really interested in these controllers again was Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, of all things. Using a controller with that game is kind of like a cheat code. Although I think the game picked up that I'm using a controller, the skill-based matchmaking kicked in and I'm losing more matches now. I opted to use the Razer Edge with the Kishi 2 for a while, mostly because the Edge has a really long screen. It's like playing Warzone on an ultra wide, which is great because there's no FOV slider on mobile. So I can see just as much of the screen as you normally would on a 16:9 monitor with the FOV slider all the way up. But what feels really cool is the addition of gyro aiming. So I can play the game like I normally would on the controller, and I can adjust my aim for finer movements. It's a little hard to get used to rotating my phone and still moving my character at the same time, but it does feel really good when it works. It was actually when I was reviewing the Odin 2 Mini, I decided to dabble in some Android games, and I was playing Warzone Mobile, and I liked it so much that I decided, hey, let me try this on other devices, and it seemed like the best one that I had for it was the Razer Edge. I reviewed that a while ago and said it wasn't too great because it was very expensive for what it was. $400 is a lot, but now you can find it for $250. I think you can get it on Amazon for as little as $200, and you get the Kishi 2 with it, and you get a whole gaming device. And that is only $50 more than the Razer Kishi Ultra. The Ultra fits a variety of devices. It comes with swappable rubber, so it can better cater to the device you already have. But none of them seem to support using my iPhone with just a modest case on it. So that's a bit of a bummer. I gotta take it out of the case every time I want to use it. I had some really cool ideas to experiment with some weird setups on this thing, and not a single one of them worked. The only big tablet that I have that I thought could fit in here would be the Lenovo Legion Go. This technically does work with Windows. However, the Lenovo is too thick for this. The G Cloud is too narrow when used vertically. This device is just too wide. It's meant for horizontal devices. So even if a device has the USB-C port on the bottom middle, there's no guarantee that it'll work. I even plan on using a USB-C extension cable to try to get it to work in some weird, wacky situations, but that cable didn't even work at all. It knows it's plugged into something, but it just doesn't want to work. Again, for what this thing is, I think it does a great job. I just think I fundamentally don't need what this thing is. It completely removes the convenience of portability. At this point, just take a handheld with you. This is almost just as big as an entire Nintendo Switch. It is also $50 cheaper than a Nintendo Switch Lite. I can't see myself taking this over basically any handheld. There really has to be a mobile game that I want to play specifically on my phone. Right now, if I'm trying to be a minimalist, I'm just gonna opt to play touchscreen games on my phone, or an RPG that doesn't require fast inputs or tactile feedback. If I'm bringing a bag and still want to be a minimalist, I'm bringing my Miu Mini because it's tiny and still functional for tactile inputs and fast action. If I have more room, why would I opt to take this over a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch? But again, all of these iPhone controller solutions are for people who want to play games on their phone for one reason or another. Maybe there's a specific game that's only on their phone. Maybe they already have their emulator set up on there and don't want to set them up on a whole other device. Maybe they just want a real economical solution. Maybe this fictional person already has an expensive phone and just putting a little bit of work or spending just a little bit of extra money can turn that into a powerful handheld. That seems reasonable. But for most gaming enthusiasts, which are probably a lot of people watching this right now because we're at the end of the video, you guys probably have other better ways to game. I have faith in mobile gaming, especially with this new iPhone, but we're just not quite there yet. We're close though, and getting closer. So what do you guys think? What are your solutions for gaming on your phone? You guys got games on your phone? Just like the other phone controllers that I have, I feel like I'll find a solution for this. Maybe I'll get like a gaming tablet somewhere down the line that just randomly fits perfectly in this thing. Or maybe I'll start doing Warzone Mobile on this on my iPhone because I, just for whatever reason, never downloaded Warzone Mobile on my iPhone until now. I've been playing it on my Android devices. I think I'm just more interested in the weird, wacky controllers and the weird ways people are playing their emulated games on their phones. If you find any of that, leave it in the comments below. Add me on Twitter. Any and all of this other social media garbage. Of course, we got new videos here all of the time. Live streams on twitch.tv/Wulff. Thank you, Rocket Money, for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check them out. The link in the description. Of course, the most important thing that you can do to support us is subscribe right here on YouTube and share this video with a friend who's got games on their phone. Thank you very much. Have a good week.